Hello Internet and welcome back to Rail Survival, Space Engineers series where I have built a very dramatically lit tunnel. And of course this dramatic tunnel is, it pales in comparison to the big pit behind it, which especially at night, during the day it's still, you can kind of see the bottom. But yeah, let me step back so you get the real. There's just void. Void is everywhere. Oh, I think I can see walls pulling away. Yeah. Anyway, of note, I guess we should go out to the front of the tunnel. So everything's welded, as you can tell. Piping, okay, almost everything's welded, as you can tell. I forgot about the pillars. That's fine. The pipeline built, we had all this out here. I continued it along. It goes all the way back here. Pipes into what I guess will be kind of the final cargo and a little charging access point for me. And then carries on down. Down deep. You can just see the end of it down there. Geronimo! Haha. I forgot my light. I hit my light button as I was falling there and realized, oh crap, I may not have enough time to get to the jetpack button. We did it though. So yeah, at the moment, tube just kind of ends. My plan is to run it out to kind of the dead center of all of this, and then start going up. And I don't know exactly how far up I'm gonna need to go. I don't exactly know how I want to do this. There are a couple of plans I have going. We're gonna see what works and what doesn't. But yeah, for starters, let's get a cargo container down here. I don't need it to be as decorative because this place isn't going to be viewed near as often. And just in case, I'm gonna build out of the reinforced conveyors down here, because that means it gives me connection points along the sides of everything, so I can kind of just smush it together. I think this is middle-ish. It's not perfectly aligned with the thing. Oh, and you know what? I know why that might be. I'm a big idiot. So remember when I was up there and I was doing all kinds of alignment-y stuff to make sure my tunnel was kind of dead on with the pistons, using those as sort of my gauge? I measured side to side, so the center of this tunnel is pointing dead center. I didn't measure length. I forgot that that's important. I mean, we got pretty close. For apparently completely forgetting an important step of measuring, we're like half a block off. I could if I really cared, adjust this with a piston down here. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be that big of a worry. I think everything should just kind of work. It just, it slightly limits. I'm slightly more limited in the size of vehicle I can build because of that. But that shouldn't be the worst thing. Oh, and actually, I've done this wrong, but it being a half block off is perfect because I need this to be 2 blocks wide. Wow, it's almost like I planned for this stupidity. Just adjust these guys here. So the reason this is important is because as I'm going up the sort of tower structure, I need to have room for my conveyor tubes in here. I'm also going to need space to connect merge blocks and probably not small inset connectors, but connectors. And it'll be easier if I just design this from the get-go to be 2 blocks wide. That gives me block space for all that to keep everything flush. Because those, the merge blocks and connectors probably aren't leaving. They are going to become part of this structure permanently. I don't know yet if I'm going to use them in the climbing mechanism. I have some ideas as to that I'm going to be, well, I'm going to be testing one idea, and if it is slow and awkward, I'll go with plan B. But yeah, this should be good. And ignoring what I said earlier actually makes this perfectly measured and very intentional. I definitely knew I was doing this ahead of time. I'm just that good. I want this to be level with where the car is going to be. And so planning around plan A for the elevator means I have to do some, I have to build up manually some of that stuff to kind of get in position. And then from there, 20 feet of manual welding is a small price to pay for an automatic climbing tower to space. So it shouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I do probably need to do some planning and measuring, though. Maybe we do that. Do that down here before we get too far into all this. Okay. First thing I'm going to need to test. Can I use one of these inset connectors, or will these become merged together? And actually, I can test this easier. Okay. That does not count as placement, so it shouldn't let me merge there. That may not matter. Actually, yeah, I don't think it matters what connector I use, because I need to give enough clearance so the pistons don't merge to the tower. In fact, let's just place a few blocks to remind me where things are going to be. So I've got my merge block here, got a connector. This is going to be the sort of climbing weld apparatus. So with that there, we have a piston here. I think I'm going to want, so we'll go 2 pistons. Then, actually, no, we can just go 4 pistons? See how this works. So I've emulated the guy down here up here, which is, I'm gonna have to change this out so that I can put welders on. But the idea I'm going for is that I'll create one of these. I'll have a second connection point here. And basically, when the piston arm extends up, it will extend up to twice its normal height, so that I can reuse these and need half as many, essentially. This may make a bit more sense as I do it. Now, I'm sure some intelligent people out there could use some form of math and figure out distances and how many blocks we need and all that. I'm not that person. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of do it and, you know, see how close we are and adjust as we need. I'm pretty sure this is possible. Like, I think the math can work. It's just a matter of knowing what math to do. So we have our 4 pistons. I'm gonna have this upper one be our sort of adjustment. Be just a little... I'm surprised I got that close on try 1. And we're dancing around. I think that'll be good enough. So the way this mechanism works, it's sort of a caterpillar design. So you have this lower thing connected, that upper bit disconnected. All these pistons push up. When this gets to its maximum height, it's welding a bunch of, well, tower as it goes. When it gets to its max height, it has another one of these connection points. It connects to that on this upper bit. The lower one then disconnects, and all these pistons pull up, where hopefully this lower one lines up with the upper one that it was just at. Or the, you know. Yeah, that. Ow.
Energy low.
So yeah, that's the goal. And I may... Again, I may have to do some fine-tuning. Well, I will have to do a lot of fine-tuning. But... let's see... we can just kind of reverse all these guys and just see where we get. So if I count to just... how does this work? If I count from connector to merge blocks, so...
Fuel low.
If I get fuel before I fly up and try and count. Alright. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4... we have 11 blocks here. Which means I think I want this to be 22 blocks high? If I stick another 9 blocks and then a merge block up here, we'll see where we line up. Okay. It's actually pretty close. That's not insanely off. How would it look if I get rid of 1 piston? Okay. So our offset's now kind of even worse. And that is to be expected. But 2 meters is pretty much dead on the money for it, so that's pretty good. Okay. And actually, we can go ahead and pre-measure things out, can't we? So I now need... I lost 2 blocks, so I now need 7 blocks until my merge block. Height-wise, this isn't super impressive. But I guess if it's really... like, if it's really small, in theory, once we find sort of our ratio, we should be able to double it, and that will work easily. And, you know, we can make use of our scientific findings and still get a lot of distance per weld. So everything's placed out. If these guys line up at the top, we are golden. Or, honestly, if they're close to lining up at the top, because we can always fudge some things. Oh. Is that any better than it was before? I think it's actually worse. Gosh, editor me will be able to tell, but me doesn't remember. No. It would have been way worse. Because this would only go up by 2 more blocks. Because that's how many blocks a piston is, more or less. So that would have only been like just lining up with where things are now. And these would have gone, well, another like 4.5 blocks up. So yeah, I think maybe this is our number. So 3 pistons, then is this our thing? Yeah, then 7 blocks in between our connecty bits. And what we can just do is, same as we adjusted our maximum, or minimum velocity rather, we can adjust our maximum.
Fuel low.
Uh-oh. Okay. It's about 5.
Fuel critical.
Ow. You can sort of, because the build vision gives you a readout, so you can kind of watch what the number is as things align and get a good sense. So I think we want this to be like 4.2. Try 4.5. Which isn't great. That's a lot of wasted sort of piston length. Yeah, 4.6. Probably good. Yeah. I mean, it's still a pretty good push each go. And these are set. Let's send them back down. Get a sense of how much room we actually have, because if I can fit double in here, maybe we do that. Okay, so I think with double would line up pretty much right here, which is very close to our thing. Yeah, let's do it. I'm now thinking about the fact, because pistons don't just double their length when expanded, they sort of, they increase it by 2/3. Fuel. So doubling things may not actually, I think doubling a ratio should still work. Again, math and me is not a 1, so yeah, crap. You know, if we have 5 pistons, it'll line up about alright. Just lop this guy off the top.
Inventory full.
This does mean, annoyingly, we aren't quite at position for this. Height-wise. Though I should be able to adjust that a bit. Oh. Right. Actually, that needs to be 2 blocks lower. Yeah. I should have just, I had it working. Why did I try and tempt fate? You know what? It may take longer. I'm gonna go back to 3 pistons. You know, I guess in thinking about it, actually, there might be a way to do this in a 3-to-1 something or other. But basically, I need this thing to become twice as long as it is each go. That's pretty much the best I can do. So maybe doing this where this last piston barely does anything kind of just works. Or maybe I just don't know what I'm doing and 3 pistons is the right move. This is all getting very complicated. Especially considering there was a ratio that just worked, and I stumbled upon it immediately and lost it chasing the sun. Okay. Good enough. Actually, that is pretty much... Granted, it's kind of a block high for what I'd need, but that's on level... This upper bit is on level with the platform. That could work. Oh. Filled up fuel, I forgot tanks. Okay. Now what I need to do is be up here. Not gonna worry about connectors, really. But I need these merge blocks to exist. And there we go. Sneakily get in there and get some parts. So the sort of next verification is I need to determine if these guys can connect. Which I can do. So if I switch lock on that, turn that off. Yes, that turns on. So now, if I unlock on you, reverse all these pistons. That should line up with these guys. Almost, actually, it's even more almost than I thought from a distance. Yeah, okay. So if I turn these on, or build these, I guess it's turning them on, in the sense that I'm putting in the way they can function. And I need these guys built. So I think it's important to use these sort of alternating connector to hold things in place, because I want this bottom bit to be able to wiggle a bit, and if these connectors are connected when I try and attach these, they won't wiggle, and well, they may wiggle, but it may impart more force in things. Ideally, if I use the opposite, everything can just kind of, the pistons themselves can shift freely and just do what they gotta do. Alright. Switch lock there. Turn this block on. Toggle this block off. They've shifted. This lurched just a bit down. But now, switch lock on that. We can lock this guy. And now continue on, and as you can see, sort of the mechanism idea here. So the merge blocks just kind of help keep everything, you know, lined up and correctly positioned. The connectors give us cargo pass through, so as this guy's going, I could even... in fact, yeah. This should work. So those are in voxel. Okay, this is... That's not something I want to do. But I need to do it briefly. Hopefully nothing bad happens when I do this. Ooh. I was afraid those connectors would decide to fail. Okay. So, that was a Control-Shift-B in my mind that allows me to create a grid of hopefully just the tower and not the connected weldy caterpillar. We'll rename this Space Train Tower. Now, let's connect everything back up and hope our luck with things not exploding holds. Yep, and those turned green again, so everything is connected back together. Turn that back on. Oh no. I think this is gonna get weird. If I do this... No. Okay. Don't know what's connected to what here. What I'm gonna do is try and temporarily unlock this and hope these guys reconnect. This could all explode. Hey, it didn't. Ugh, that was unpleasant. Anyway. Now that we are here, let's do this so I can safely get rid of this guy. Another sort of part of this process. So I need my projector. And I need my projector on the bottom thing here. Because as this guy pushes up, even though that's way lower than the welding is going to be happening, that stays connected to this grid. This upper bit doesn't, and because of the pistons, it's a full subgrid. So it won't be able to project anything to where I want to build it. And I don't want to have a bunch of projectors in the tower connecting pieces together, because that sounds like a mess. Now what I'm actually going to do is send this back down so I can weld some of this, not by hand. Which means sort of reversing my method from before. Oh. Okay, and I've done this wrong. That's... Okay. I'm gonna automate all this so it just kind of works better. And less scary in the future. Oh, I did just realize something, though. I took a blueprint of this before it was built. That was dumb. Let's go ahead and, go ahead and get things laid out, at least. And I need to get this bit welded. Okay. So now I do the sketchy free-floating piston machine thing. Slice that back apart. Control Shift B and take a screenshot, even though it's not particularly useful. And reconnect all of these in a very unnerving fashion. I wonder. Aha. There we go.
Energy low.
Okay. So, we have our tower. That's probably important. We have our tower. We have a blueprint of our tower that we can then project higher up. We need our welding mechanism, which, if I have welders here, it should work. So sort of place those off there, and then... Actually, I think the classic welders may look better here. Yeah, because that should be able to weld this block and this block comfortably. And not connect to anything, hopefully. Okay. Now this is going to be a tricky part. We have our projector. I guess this is the Sky Train now, because I've named a bunch of stuff that. Or Space Train, rather. The Sky Train has a better name, better ring to it. Calling this the Sky Train. So currently, that is wrong. Yes. Quite wrong. If I get this kind of position... Okay, not yaw. If I get this kind of positioned in such a way that I can figure out what the heck is going on. There we go. So basically, I just kind of get this positioned and line up this with these, and that should be in the right spot for the next sort of leg. Yeah, and we can see this bit comes up to here. That's connecting to what is the existing thing, but obviously that would be a ghosty one later. And actually, we've got that already, though it should never matter. And the brilliance of this, because this gets dragged along, every time this projector connects to the tower, it'll be able to print that off the tower so that the height will always be correct. It'll always have one segment more to weld. And because everything is piped to the main base, it should hopefully not run. If it runs out of material, we have broadly run out of material, and that's a different issue. I think I'm going to do this first run manually and then do the automation, which shouldn't be too convoluted, but let's turn on. Actually, I don't need two welders. I don't know why I have them. I should... Hold on. Stop wasting fuel for a second. I can have them help each other, and maybe that'll speed things up so this can move at a bit of a better clip. Oh, nope. Let's do 0.2, not 2. See if that's quick enough to actually weld everything. Yeah, looks it. In fact, we could probably go even quicker, because once that once this first piston gets to its sort of half height, things do slow down. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay. So that connector's connected. If I turn on that merge block, turn off that one, does its thing. Then we switch lock there. Panic for just a second. And reverse everything. I did just realize, in reality, I don't need this conveyor up here, this connector, because I don't actually need this in to connect. Though, no, I need it to hold when I turn this merge block on. So, I don't need it to be conveying to things, but if it's there anyway, it might as well. Okay. So now, connect that. Turn that one on. That one off. Oh no. Why are you not connecting, friend? Is it because these welders have done something goofy? Because I don't think they should be merging to anything. Okay, so that's connected. There they go. Okay, we'll have to keep an eye on that. This may be a little less automatable than I was hoping. And I think what we're going to do now... kind of just because we're here... if I use these guys, I can kind of build right at the height I need. Maybe. So yeah. Perfect height for a nice little seamless walk on. Hopefully these didn't merge together somehow. I guess, crap, they could. Well, we'll think on that a moment. But, you know, nice, right position, right height to just walk straight on. And it gives me the ability to test if just having this crawler mechanism with a little box here is enough of an elevator that I feel confident and comfortable using it. Mainly it's going to be speed. Can this thing climb this tower quick enough that that it's worth taking versus some other wheeled contraption? And this gives me a spot to set up some stuff for automation. So I guess we get that figured out. Okay, so to figure out this sort of process here, I've got a list of the steps I need to happen. So, if we count kind of this state as start point, we extend our pistons. Once our pistons are fully extended, and all this is kind of right up there, then the upper merge block needs to turn on. The lower merge block turns off. That should, when that lower one turns off, this one can connect, and hopefully does so. Once that merge block is connected, then our lower connector unlocks, and this begins to raise. Then once the all of this is raised up, that lower connector will now be here. The lower merge block will turn on, upper merge block turns off. That should allow, that to lock here, and it can start over. So I think how we're gonna do this. So I've got, that is currently a timer block. I think we can use an event controller, because the event controller can watch where the pistons are. It will then start... The event controller will probably start the timer block, which we are going to need more of. I think maybe to keep everything working well, so if I have 2 event controllers, those will control my extend and retract step. That means I need 5 timer blocks for all the other steps, and every step has its own block. And I think I mismeasured, because I want to be able to separately kind of adjust the timing of the connectors doing their thing. So, we'll just add a few more timers. Got everything labeled such that it is easy for me to find and mess with. So my sequence is a little messed up, but one of these needs to extend, because I don't have one of those yet. So we extend the pistons. Once those are extended, our upper merge block gets triggered on. Then our lower merge goes off. Then lower connector unlocks. We retract. Once we are retracted, our lower merge comes on. Then our upper merge goes off. Okay, and then we need to lock our lower connector. That's the step I forgot about. Yeah, and once the lower connector is locked, we can extend again. It'll weld up the next bit, and then the sequence should continue. Okay. Now to put all of these things together. Also, this gets confusing. I'm gonna name the lowermost... Somehow I named all of these pistons differently. So this is Pertam Sky Space Train. This is Pertam Sky Train. And then this one is Pertam Sky Train. That's incredible. But keeping track of which one's which is going to be a pain. I need this guy because this bottom one I know. goes from 0 to max, and I'm watching for when it hits its max, and I'm watching for 100% extension, essentially. Now, currently in this sequence, I'm not doing anything with the upper connector. Is that okay? So as it stands, if I look at my list in here, so we extend, upper merge on, lower merge off. I don't unlock the lower connector until hopefully the upper merge block is locked. Oh, dang. There's an issue here, which is that if for some reason the upper merge block doesn't lock, these are set just to a timer, so if the upper merge block doesn't lock, eventually the lower one will turn off anyway and it'll all just collapse. Is there a way... There is a merge block merged event controller. Okay. Do I have enough bits left for this? I think I might. Alright. So, new event controllers, so... upper merge locked and... lower merge locked. So, these guys will watch their respective merge blocks. And up here in our list... So, instead of 2 triggering 3, 3 gets triggered. So lower merge block off, number 3 gets triggered when upper merge block is locked. And I'll have it on a timer. Most of these timers are probably just going to be set to like 1 second. But that's important, something that gives just a little bit of time for things to actually happen. Just to keep everything actually occurring in sequence. Okay. I think that may work. Now, I think what I'm gonna do here... slap a button down. And I'm actually going to turn off the extend timer. So my button extends the Skytrain pistons. It should do 1 cycle and then stop. We're at the point where we're ready, timing-wise, to extend. Let's fill up on power before we, you know, go off into space, I guess. Let's see if this works, or if I come crashing down. Okay, we're extending. We're welding. It's not the quickest thing in the world, but that could be changed if I wanted it to. Oh. Also, there's minimal safety here. No guardrails. Okay. This will be the moment of truth. Do all the things happen. Okay, so merge block is on. We've unlocked down there. Okay, our safety is keeping things from freaking out, but this didn't lock. Come on. There we go. So it's now locked. Connector down there is not unlocking. Nope, it just did. Upper connector is locked. I may not have... I don't think I adjusted the delay on the retract, but we are now retracting. Let's do that real quick. I could do some stuff to make it retract a lot quicker, which should be safe, because this is all subgrids, so in theory it can't rip itself apart. It is sliding right along the only support tower, which is a little unnerving to make it go crazy fast. So we're now fully retracted. I think that's another timer I forgot to change the length of. Maybe. Dang it. It's not showing me what the event controller is. Oh, that's why it's not showing what it's reading. I forgot to add the piston. Dang it. That would do it. I think I'm gonna have to manually... let's do it from up here. Gonna have to manually trigger that step, but that shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so we are retracted now. It is reading that our piston is at 0, which is the important thing. Did I not... Oh, and I didn't... I could have sworn I did this. Did these guys have their... Uh-huh. Right. Maybe I just forgot several steps.
Meteor storm
Hopefully
inbound.
this isn't a weird issue with things connecting and disconnecting and deleting stored data. Anyway, we're retracted now, so that means I need to trigger timer block 6. Which has turned on that, but they didn't lock because for some annoying reason that needs to happen. And that's another timer. I think I forgot to do. No? Oh, crap. Really? Okay. Well, that's a problem. That's a major problem. The event controllers lose their... the event controllers, for some reason, are losing their stored event whenever merge blocks merge and unmerge. I mean, these things get a little weird, but I'd have hoped that wouldn't happen. That might mean that if I can't do this with event controllers, I'm going to have to be the logic, which means I have to manually drive this thing all the way to space. That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay. Well, conveniently this is here. So we'll look at the tower so we can at least kind of see what's happening in front of us. And I think I'll just have to have our hotbar set up with a lot of stuff. So if I do that, we're now free to go. I extend. This is going to be a bit more of a pain than I anticipated, but it should at least work. So I just manually have to switch these things, and given the weirdness I'm experiencing with the merge blocks, I'll have to get out and manually deal with those each time. But at least we should be connected to the grid in here, so we're connected to oxygen and hydrogen. So we should never run out of that. And some of the automation works, even if the event controllers keep breaking. Turn that guy on. Toggle that guy. Oh! Oh, and I'm a moron. I forgot. So, merge blocks. How they do. Merge blocks will not connect to each other if they're both connected to the same subgrid. That didn't make a ton of sense. Basically, if the other merge block were on this piston here, this one wouldn't connect, which is why I have the connectors doing their thing, because in my head I was like, oh, well, I can't connect one while the other's connected. But there are other subgrids in between. Basically, the issue is the game isn't going to let you, the reality isn't going to let this block and this block both occupy the same space. Therefore, it just refuses to merge. But that's not an issue, so this may become even easier. So I undo that. We immediately begin retracting, and it should, especially if I go ahead and fiddle with that guy, hopefully that auto locks. And I'm just, again, manually climbing this thing into the sky. I think I am gonna adjust how the pistons work to make this a little quicker. Though this does, I will say, kind of kill my whole auto climbing thing. Because if the auto climbing mechanism isn't going to work, and I could have it be purely piston based and have no sort of logical safeties, but I don't like that. That scares me. So I think we will go with my plan B for the vehicle that will traverse this. So, okay. So instead of retracts, we will set velocities, and I'm pretty sure how pistons work. What is your current? Yeah, current velocity is -2. Negative is retract. So, if we set our velocity to actual -2 instead of 0.2, these guys are going to come flying up. And then we just need to set our extend to +0.2 so that we don't extend insanely quick. And then, since all this is kind of going out the window anyway, we'll have that going. So we'll just remove our trigger now from 8, that way it doesn't matter. I can have that timer block on and trigger it manually. And I think I just broke everything. Whoops. Alright, and I think I may be able to drive this thing from in here. So, my merge blocks and connectors are linked up. So I know the lower starts locked. 4 is ready to lock, which means merge block 6 is ready to lock. So if I do 6 on, I do have to get out and do that. They lock. then a timer block is triggered. Okay, so they did unlock. Right. So if I then unlock... Yep. Our projector is going up. It's going up rapid speed. In fact, it's kind of jiggling. That's maybe less good. So I do still have to get out. But I can do a lot of stuff from in here. Okay. Now to do this for like the next 10 hours until I'm in space. I'm curious of something. It may have just been a one-off convenience. No! Haha! I can drive it all from in the cab. So, when I lock and unlock the connector, it does just enough jiggle that makes these guys decide to connect. So... What? Hold on. Yeah, I'm extended right now. I wonder... I mean, I guess I could just slap a straight up LCD up here, but I kind of want... I think... Is this the right way? Okay. So I have this LCD I can look at and know if I am extended or not. What I will do is just real easily hit the wrong button again. Which shouldn't matter because we're already extended. Okay. So when I retract, I want it to turn this guy off. And then when I extend, turn it on. Just as a quick and easy way for me to know what's going on. So right now we're extended. So, and I've got my little helpful text up here to know what my buttons do. So I want to lock my upper one and unlock the lower, hit retract. That goes up. That now says offline, which indicates that we're good. Okay. Hold on. Oh, What's happened here? We're just gonna... There we go. Okay. So I know we're retracted. I want to turn on my lower merge block. Lock and unlock that. I know it works because we start welding again. Then we can unlock our upper stuff, which resets my view, and start extending. Okay. There's still a lot to keep track of, but we're going up. We are, you know, we're above the mountain now. So that's something. I am curious. I'm gonna let it get to the top and then I'm gonna do a quick bit of science just to see, because I've been working on this partially on a hunch that on this particular planet it's a little easier to achieve. We'll stop here. This is 0.25 G, which is like the gravity on the moon. I don't actually have a GPS. of the base, so I'm going to assume that we're right above it. And I am going to make a GPS up here. So with that as our sort of rough target, we'll let gravity help us down. We were probably about 9 kilometers up, which is still a pretty fair ways. We'll see what happens here. Okay, so 0.5 G is only about 5 kilometers up. That's much more... That feels doable. Even if we don't get, we'll see if it gets fully to space. Even if we don't get fully to space, I figure at least if we're close, then, we can make the argument. And it would be, anywhere where there's lower gravity would be easier than, attempting to fully land. Okay. 8.6 kilometers up. This will be roughly a 9 kilometer tower. In fact, let's go all the way in. Yeah. So 9 kilometer tower. Realistically, that's probably... Space might happen at 12 kilometers here. That I can't remember. But 0.25 G feels 0.25 G you can do with ion thrusters, so that seems like a reasonable goal. We'll see how close we get before things start going awry. So, I've had to take a quick pause, just because I need more material, more iron mainly, which isn't surprising. But in doing that, I kind of stopped and took in. Look at this view. Just look. You can see everything out there. You can see where the nickel. Okay, I've lost the nickel train, which is a little concerning. But, broadly speaking, iron ore is down there. Oh, now we're going down. But yeah, what a view. Let's go along and just... Nickel may be kind of buried in... Ah, yeah. Nickel's moving along here. That is fine. Let's get the iron in, which is the main thing we need. Go ahead and, yep. Align to station 2. I'll need to send the silver back once iron is in. But yeah, our tower, and okay, I can just see the top if I squish against the window. It's getting pretty impressive. How close are we? Oh boy. So 8.27. 8.8. So we've made it roughly just over half a kilometer up. That's taken quite a while. And a ton of materials. Well, we knew this was going to be quite the endeavor. Alright, iron is docked up. Nickel is on its way. How much of our production through Q? Okay. Still got a lot to do. So I've jumped ahead just a little bit. You know, just a smidge of stuff has changed. So let me kind of walk you through. I figured once I made it up here, I was like, well, I've got access to parts. I might as well build everything while I'm up here. Yeah. It took a minute, but we did. I still need to paint things, I think. But we have our station built, and kind of the only reason I'm doing this first and not going down to do the actual up to and down from space vehicle is I kind of realized I'm already up here and I have to get down, so I might as well do this now. But yeah. We've got this lovely garden arboretum thing with some nice plant life in little boxes that you're not allowed in because we aren't that cool of a station. But yeah, nice little something on top. And then kind of the main station bits. Got an ATM and whatever this thing does. Various stuff, you know. Contract block. I've got my recharge thingy. I have, you know, in various workplace incidents managed to injure myself rather badly, but again, I have to go down. I guess I could build a med bay up here, but I didn't. Go out through the airlocks. We have this lovely landing pad. You can see one of my many issues is yeah, that thing, when you're not in the atmosphere of a planet, it hurts. It hurts quite quick. So we won't stay out here too long, but yeah, this is the gist. Then if we pop down here, it's kind of a little narrow, but this will eventually be our sort of docking point for the thingy. So I ended up backing that. Actually, how I did it was on this last one, because I was like, well, I guess I can back this all the way down. That's a pain in the butt. So what I did was I just extended it, and then instead of locking to the next thing, I just didn't and retracted it back. And it worked pretty well. So I think now is time to get rid of all this. Again, while I'm up here, get it out of the way. And then with it gone, I guess I just kind of free fall down to the surface and get building an elevator car of sorts. Oh no. we're gonna hope that doesn't do any damage. God, I've been so good.
Inventory
I've been
full.
so good about not dropping things to the planet's surface. And here I go as soon as I'm on camera. Okay. That's now free and clear. I guess we just kind of do this. And turn things back on in 5 kilometers when we're closer to the ground. I also don't like that I'm clearly moving. No, now I'm going straight down. I guess if I'm not too worried about it, I don't have to build an elevator that goes back down. I can just do it manually. So that's kind of a cool view. Can see everything stretching out. Oh. Okay, I wasn't as good as I thought. Oh. Okay, it made a little bit of a... Oh. Yeah, it made a little bit of a crater, but... that's fine. If anything, it's just more free excavation. At least it landed in the tunnel and didn't seem to hit any of these guys. Real quick. We'll fly back over. Get ourselves healed. Oh. Right. Ignore that guy. We have a guest. So I am just... yeah. I was just curious what the experience was like. It's about as I expected. Big stick. In fact, let's just really get the experience in. Big stick off into the sky. That might be the end way up there. It may just be that it's getting so thin it kind of fades out of view. Either way, it completes the illusion pretty well. Let's get back into our cave of evil. See if we can't think up a good, good rail vehicle. Okay. So we've got a little starting point. The big issue with this system, what I'm going to be trying to do, wheels don't do a good job moving things up straight vertical things. They're just, they don't really have enough power. It's a real pain to get them kind of tuned in right to be able to grip tight enough to actually have traction, but not grip so tight that they can't move. So I think what I may try instead... I wonder... I'm pretty sure we go too far up to rely solely on atmospheric thrust. I think I'll build... I think what I'm going to do here is essentially build a rocket on rails. So it's going to have wheels that guide it along this thing, but I think it'll have just hydrogen tanks and some boosters on it. Enough to sort of lift it up, get it where it needs to go, but hopefully more efficient because it doesn't have to, you know, right itself and adjust its own direction. And I don't know, who said rocket trains aren't trains? So I should be able to, once I kind of get all this built, I'm building the wheels upside down, which shouldn't matter for our use case. I should hopefully be able to kind of smush them in to get a good grip on the rail. And I think my plan is to have this structure, this is kind of going to be the bottom, and then have a, basically a second one of these up higher with sort of all the mechanism and tanks and everything in between. So with this guy built, I'm going to do a quick blueprint of just it, which will make building things at the top easier. Now, I want to position things. My plan is to have this little rail rocket connect to these connectors. So, I want to have it... Basically, I need it to be built such that the sort of entryway to the cabin is a block below a connector. Line it up so that it lines up with all this stuff. I have built this 13 blocks wide, which makes designing easier. This is only 10 small grid blocks wide. So the math doesn't seem to quite math, but hopefully everything kind of lines up. Okay. So I've got gist of structure. Let's get right. Let's get some of the other stuff we're gonna need in here. Start getting that figured out. So what I need to do is measure up. So I need a connector that would align with that and put the bottom, put basically this block level with the bottom of this. So I believe I need to go up 6. Which would put... Okay. Which puts our connector kind of square on here. And actually, I was thinking of doing this anyway. So with our connector there, if I put a cockpit on here, yeah, it'll pipe up. Should be good. And it should be accessible from inside. Which means, yeah. So I can get in here and manually fly this thing up. I'm sure it is automatable, but frankly, I'm out of recording time and just need this to exist, so I think it's going to be manually operated. We need to run our conveying. Like so. I can then finish filling in this wall. And if I connect those down and out to the tanks down below, everything should be piped up and good to kind of refill. And I just realized too, there we go. Small oxygen tank. I should really have these guys in here. And a vent. Because again, we're going into space, so it's nice to be able to breathe. So now we just need our upper sort of structure. I think 2. Can I? Yeah. Add some little strutty support things. We should be able to get the upper wheels built without much issue. Also, I didn't... because we have to move things in, this may work. Hopefully this connector will be close enough to actually connect. Ooh. You know, another thing I just thought of. Yeah. So this structure extends 2 blocks above the connector. I think I have 3 blocks at the station, but it's gonna be a real pain in the butt to go check. So hopefully this just kind of works. So that, I mean, I have enough of a view ahead to know what's coming. That's good. Let's... Oh. At least get this thing built. Okay. So I need to fuel it before I can detach it. Which means, I think, just slapping one of these on here. Yeah, that'll work. I'll let this kind of run for a bit, and it should be enough. Hopefully I don't need very much fuel to kind of hover. Go up ever so slightly to that connector, and from there I should be able to refill fully from the tank on the base. In fact, this is another nice... I finally have a use for hydrogen. I've had the ability to create it for years, but I've not used it. Or, well, I've not used the volume I can make. So there we go. Another reason for the rocket elevator. So I have no idea how much fuel these thrusters are going to use. But if we disconnect, we'll find out real quick. We'll also figure out if we can actually support ourselves. Okay. So answer 1 seems to be no. Interesting. Now. Is this doing something weird with thrust override, or can we just not support our own weight? Looks like we may not be able to support our own weight, or we're already completely out of fuel. Crap. Well... Okay, if I turn off dampeners, that should... Yeah, let the tank start refilling. Gonna need a lot more... Oh, hold on. That's an idea. I did... This thing is, you know, it's just a tube. Ooh. As long as we don't blow anything up by messing with it. I should be able to build this connector in here. Hopefully we can connect to it. Okay. So lock there. Now we need to actually conveyor it. Okay. That's what we needed. So, our tanks are now full. Let's see if we can get ourselves back up to the actual thing.
Inventory full.
Okay. So if I turn on my dampeners and unlock, we will see what happens. Hopefully we can go up. Yes and no. Turn off magnetness. Okay, I think our wheels are too tight. Maybe not. Okay. We might need more thrust. That's okay. That's easy to add. Easy to add except for the wheels are kind of in the way. Let's see if we can get away with just having 4 of them. Okay. 4 thrusters. There we go. So now get our connector ready. Ooh. Hit the right button. Everything freezes for just a moment. And all is good. Cool. So I think this thing should work reasonably well. We get the airlock part built now. Yeah. That should be good. Everything's a little cattywampus, but at the very least I don't think this will hit anything. The last thing we need is some dramatic lighting. It's kind of dramatic. Anyway, looks like the sun is rising out there. Let's take our elevator to space. Oops. There is enough room in here, so that's good. This isn't a sort of full airlock, just partially for sake of convenience. I don't think it really matters because we should, whenever we are using it, we should be connected to a connector, which means we're getting stuff from the base. Okay. Turn off stockpile. Unlock. And up we go. Now I should actually... We are using a fair bit of fuel. I should... set up a group and set some thrust overrides. There we go. So part of the issue is I need to not accelerate too quickly. Because if I'm accelerating too quickly, the wheels will freak out and explode. Ooh. It's fun. Dramatically rising up through the rock storm. Okay, honestly, this seems to be holding us, and we should, as gravity falls off, start slowly accelerating. Let's take in the view. Yeah. Now it is not pressurized. which isn't great. That could be, we've been having some issues with pressurization actually occurring. So I don't know if this is because this isn't actually a pressurized space or some other weird issue. Yeah, actually, you can just kind of, like, I can just sit on here and enjoy the sunrise as we slowly climb our way up. So it looks like 264 kilonewtons is the thrust. We are accelerating. I probably could actually automate this without too much issue. If I were to do something... Oh, okay. Yep, we're starting to go too quick. So I should be able to set something up where, basically, kind of like how the trains work, where if it starts going too fast, it slows itself down. I could probably do that. But for now, manual operation seems to work, and fuel seems to be doing alright. Looks like we'll have burned, I'm guessing, about a quarter by the time we get halfway to our destination. Maybe even less. I mean, it's a silly looking thing. It's not the quickest by far, but it is working. I don't remember if I mentioned at the top of this segment of the video, I did decide not to, well, you can see how far it was just to get to 0.5 G. So that's as far as I went. Speaking of, here is our destination. I think... Well, no, I can probably do this just with the thruster overrides. Why not? It's a gamble. Hopefully we fit. And we're making it with good fuel. Let's just... Oh, yeah. Ah, we fit perfectly. I should put some lights in here. Okay. Now the second question, can we connect? Oh, I think we will. Yes, perfect. Just enough room. Okay. We are at this. Still don't know. Where's the leak? Oh. There we go. Oh. Well, you know, that would do it. That would be a leak. But that's easy enough to fix. Alright. So now, we close that door. What do you know? The battery's an issue. We're just not going to worry about that. Let's see if we can't get the platform down here. Alright. Yeah. So now you can get off the elevator, board the station, and then take it all the way back down to the ground. Which, speaking of, now that everything's kind of positioned up here, let's head back down and see just how badly that goes. So I guess I basically do the opposite, where I just slowly increase the thruster overhead to keep us just falling. It's maybe a little more hands-on, but seems doable. Alright. Now, just like above, we'll attempt to effectively land this thing. Like so. Yeah. That was pretty good. So yeah, I think that is where we're gonna call it for today. And I think that's where we're gonna call it for the series, which is wild. It feels like this has been such a journey. And I mean, it kind of has been. We have done a lot of stuff. I mean, this was big. This was a big bunch of, well, honestly, a big bunch of welding. It was so much work. But I think the outcome was awesome, frankly. I mean, just looking out at the world, there's stuff moving around. Things are just happening. And I built all that.